Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we are diving into a diplomatic storm that's making headlines across Africa, a fresh and fiery clash between Rwandan President Paul Kagame and South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. This isn't just another political disagreement. This is a serious standoff that touches on sovereignty, military legitimacy, and the fragile balance of power in the Great Lakes region. So stick around as we unpack what was said, what it means for the continent, and why it could have serious consequences for peace in Central Africa. The spark that ignited this firestorm. A comment made by President Ramaphosa during a diplomatic briefing, where he reportedly referred to the Rwanda Defence Force, or RDF, as a militia. Now, that might sound like just another political term to the untrained ear, but in diplomatic and military circles, calling a national army a militia is a loaded accusation. It implies informality, lawlessness, and illegitimacy, a slap in the face for any sovereign state. President Kagame wasted no time in responding. He didn't mince words. He described Ramaphosa's statement as misleading, offensive, and a direct affront to Rwanda's sovereignty. And for those who follow African diplomacy, Kagame's tone was unusually sharp. He emphasized that the RDF is a professional, disciplined force, not some ragtag group of armed fighters. According to Kagame, the RDF has played a pivotal role in maintaining stability in the volatile Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, or DRC. Kagame's rebuttal was more than just a defense, it was a full-on diplomatic counterattack. He accused South Africa of misrepresenting Rwanda's role in the region, deliberately undermining its peacekeeping efforts, and turning a blind eye to its own inconsistencies in regional leadership. He said, and I quote, "If South Africa is truly committed to peace in the Great Lakes region, it should focus on constructive dialogue rather than mischaracterizing Rwanda's role." Now, to understand just how explosive this is, we need to rewind a bit. Relations between South Africa and Rwanda have been strained for years. These aren't just surface-level disagreements. We're talking about unresolved tensions that include serious allegations, such as Rwandan involvement in political assassinations on South African soil. That includes the high-profile killings of exiled Rwandan dissidents who had sought refuge in South Africa. These accusations have never fully been resolved, and they've cast a long shadow over the relationship between the two countries. So when Ramaphosa used the word militia, some analysts believe it wasn't just a slip of the tongue, it was possibly a reflection of South Africa's broader alignment with the Congolese government. For years, Kinshasa has accused Rwanda of backing the M23 rebel group, which has wreaked havoc in eastern DRC. Rwanda has consistently denied these claims, insisting that its military presence in the region is defensive, a response to security threats along its border. But Ramaphosa's remarks appear to validate the Congolese government's position, and that hasn't gone unnoticed in Kigali. The timing of this diplomatic fallout is especially delicate. The eastern DRC is a powder keg. Decades of war, foreign interference, and weak governance have created a space where dozens of armed groups operate with impunity. Any tension between key regional powers like Rwanda and South Africa risks destabilizing already fragile peace processes. The African Union and the Southern African Development Community, or SADC, are both monitoring the situation closely. There's a growing fear that this row could weaken efforts to push for coordinated disarmament and humanitarian protection in the DRC. And here's where things get even more complicated. Both Rwanda and South Africa are key players in the African Union. They're supposed to be working together on peacekeeping, economic integration, and political stabilization across the continent. But this latest incident threatens to drive a wedge between two of Africa's most influential nations. Regional analysts are urging calm. Dr. Amanda Nkosi, a respected expert on African conflict resolution, said that this is not the time for finger-pointing or inflammatory rhetoric. Both countries must engage in constructive dialogue to ensure that regional stability efforts are not derailed. That's a message that resonates with many who understand just how interconnected these conflicts are. A breakdown in diplomatic ties between Kigali and Pretoria could have ripple effects far beyond the borders of Rwanda or South Africa. So where do we go from here? As of now, South Africa has not issued an official response to Kagame's fierce rebuke. Diplomatic insiders suggest that Ramaphosa's comment may have been an uncalculated misstep, a moment of poor judgment in an already complicated political landscape. But silence in diplomacy can sometimes speak louder than words. The longer Pretoria delays a response, the deeper the rift may become. President Kagame, meanwhile, is not backing down. He's made it clear that Rwanda will defend its reputation and its sovereignty. In his words, Rwanda has always stood for stability and peace in this region. Mischaracterizing our efforts only undermines the progress we've achieved. That's a bold statement, and one that signals Kigali's unwillingness to let this incident slide without consequence. It's also worth noting how Rwanda sees its own role in the region. Under Kagame's leadership, the RDF has been elevated as a symbol of national pride, a disciplined, modern force that's crucial to Rwanda's security doctrine. To suggest that it's anything less than a professional army is not only insulting, it challenges the very narrative that Kagame has built both domestically and on the global stage. This is about much more than just semantics. This is about power, perception, and the politics of legitimacy in African conflict zones. When national armies are accused of acting like militias, the legitimacy of the governments can also come under scrutiny. And when that accusation comes from a fellow African head of state, it threatens the foundations of trust that the continent needs to solve its deepest crises. So what can we expect next? Will Ramaphosa walk back his statement? Will South Africa and Rwanda enter high-level talks to defuse the situation? Or are we heading toward a more prolonged diplomatic Cold War between two African powerhouses? Only time will tell. But one thing is clear, this isn't a story that will go away quietly. The Great Lakes region is watching. The African Union is watching. And most importantly, the people who live in the shadow of these conflicts are watching too, hoping that words don't turn into worse. And with that, we wrap up today's breakdown of the Kagame-Ramaphosa diplomatic standoff. If you found this analysis informative, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into African politics, and drop a comment below. Do you think Ramaphosa crossed a line? Or was Kagame overreacting? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay informed, stay engaged. See you next time.